Let's talk about Olympus. It's a company best known for high-quality cameras. Well, it is facing a potential scandal. The company fired its president and CEO, Michael Woodford, last Friday after he sent a letter to the company's chairman urging the chairman to resign over, quote, serious governance concerns. Well, in the last 2 days, now the stock has fallen about 50%. That's in Japanese trading. And Mr. Woodford has now asked UK prosecutors to investigate. Well, Michael is joining us now live from London. Michael, it's a pleasure to have you here on Street Smart. It seems as if this happened quite quickly. Perhaps you can tell us what really transpired over the last couple of days and what drove you to send that letter to the chairman.
Yes, I mean, it has been going on since July, and I've been writing a series of 6 letters, which culminated with my final letter on Wednesday of last week. But basically, Olympus bought a British company for $2 billion in 2008 called Gyrus. And then I discovered that at the end of 2009 and 2010, we paid advisors $675 million to unknown recipients in the Cayman Islands. Now, that represents 35...
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to clarify a couple points for people not familiar with this. You were chairman, or you were CEO and president at the time that you made this discovery?
Yes, I was the president and CEO until Friday.
At the time. Okay, so the issue is $2 billion for this acquisition, but they paid a huge amount, or the company paid $700 million as a commission as part of this.
To advisors, to a company called Axum, where the accountants can't qualify if there's any related party. The money was paid, $620 million was paid from the UK to unknown parties in the Cayman Islands.
Then you commissioned a report from PricewaterhouseCoopers. And
I do, which I have.
Please share the report with us. Tell us what the report found.
Yes, the report from PricewaterhouseCoopers confirmed and endorsed all the concerns. It just went into more detail. It tells you how the original fees were around 1%, it went to 2%, to 5%, to 10%, finally 35% of the value of the company we were acquiring. And we don't know who we've paid this money to. And this is a large corporation listed on the Nikkei, an iconic Japanese corporation, and we're paying nearly 2 years' profits to people we don't even know. And it's just extraordinary.
And Michael, typically, what would Olympus pay to an advisor in an acquisition of this sort? I think that it's typically, what, 1 to 5%?
Between 1 and 2% is the norm, and that's what PricewaterhouseCoopers. But if it'd been 5%, but this is 35%, $700 million.
So as CEO, one would think you'd be able to go directly to the people who coordinated the deal. What responses were you getting at the time?
Totally evasive. The question still hasn't been answered. For what? For what and to whom? Why would you pay nearly, well over $500 million for advice on a British healthcare company costing $2 billion, where in itself we paid very high valuations? But what did they do? And why would you pay to people you don't know who they are? You can't then establish if there's any related parties, which raises all the issues which are now circulating in Japan about corruption, links to anti-social forces, which is an acronym for organized crime and racketeering. But I was appalled, even with the report from PwC, the chairman Kikukawa and the vice chairman Mori, who handled these actions, are just completely evasive. They need to answer the question, for what and to whom?
Michael, what is the board's reaction at this point?
The board, the letter was received on Wednesday. I was visiting Tohoku in the coastal area of Japan, which had been struck by the tsunami, to see volunteer Olympus workers. I was out of the office on Thursday. Late Thursday, I was notified of a board meeting which wasn't scheduled. I arrived and could not speak. We didn't discuss the issues. The chairman just said, we're removing your presidency, representative status and CEO status, and all your officerships around the world. But that's whatever he does and however he says it, Olympus have to answer the question, why pay $675 million in relation to an acquisition cost $2 billion and to unknown parties in the Cayman Islands? It's incredulous. It's just...
Michael, why go to UK authorities at this point? You were based in Tokyo. Obviously, your family, you come from London originally. Why bring this to UK authorities and not stay in Japan?
Yeah. My family were based in, my wife is Spanish, so my family were in Europe at the time of this. But the payments were made by a British company, Olympus Finance UK. It went from a British company, the $620 million, to the Cayman Islands. So the transaction took place between the UK company, of which Kikukawa and Mori are directors, and went to the Cayman Islands. So the Serious Fraud Office is the responsible party. You would report concerns of fraud or corruption. And until we know who has had that money and why Olympus went from 1% to 35%, which is extraordinary, until they answer that, then there's serious issues. And I don't think they can answer that. That is the problem.
All right.
And the whole board voted for my dismissal because of this.
Michael, very quickly, with 2 seconds here, is Olympus at this point saying they may sue you?
Yes, I would be delighted for them to sue me in the High Court. There's a public interest story here. Let the facts come out. Let all the facts come out. I'd be delighted.
All right.
I'd be delighted if they did that.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a very busy time for you, certainly. Do appreciate you sharing time with us. That was Michael Woodford, former Olympus CEO.